You won't believe how this fish can crush steel like it's nothing. Did you know there's technically no such thing as a fish? It's true. The DNA of sea creatures is so wildly diverse that they can't all be classified under a single category. With that in mind, it's no surprise that the oceans are home to some truly bizarre and terrifying creatures. From the bright yellow boxfish to a fish capable of biting through steel, here are the most unique and scary fish in the ocean. Number 20. The yellow boxfish. Boxfish belong to the boxfish family. Imagine that. They can be found in reefs all across the Pacific and Indian Oceans, as well as the Atlantic Ocean's southern reaches, and may grow up to 45 centimeters in length. Oh, and guess what? It's box-shaped, just as the name implies. It's a brilliant yellow hue while it's young, though the brilliance does diminish with age. Extremely old boxfish will be blue-gray in hue with fading yellow, just like the rest of us. Its diet consists mostly of algae, although it will also eat sponges, crabs, and mollusks. When it's agitated or wounded, it can actually produce a toxic protein from its skin, which may kill any of the fish in the area. The brilliant yellow coloring and black dots serve as a warning coloration to any prospective predators. They're lonely creatures, as their breeding takes place in tiny groups of 1 male and 2 to 4 females in the spring. What a lucky guy. Oh, and here's a little fun fact for you. Mercedes-Benz actually debuted the Bionic concept vehicle in 2006, inspired by the form of a yellow boxfish. Due to the remarkable quickness with which boxfish move, it's believed that their form is aerodynamic and self-stabilizing. Scientists think the boxfish's agility is due to a combination of its aerodynamically unstable body and the way the fish utilizes its fins to move. Number 19. Sarcastic fringehead. The sarcastic fringehead is a tiny but fascinating fish that dwells in the northeast Pacific Ocean, off the coast of California and Baja. Combating males of this species are renowned for their amazing display actions while defending neighborhood territory. Two blennies, like the sarcastic fringehead, live in burrows or tube-like structures dug out by other creatures. Shelters are constructed by burrowing clams or empty snail shells. In some cases, people have even seen them living in soda bottles and other artificial materials. Female sarcastic fringeheads deposit their eggs in a male's shelter, much like other tube blennies, and the males defend them from predators and other dangers until they hatch. Female sexual selection fuels a system of ferocious male rivalry and territoriality. Male sarcastic fringeheads compete by opening their enormous lips in the direction of their opponents. The frightening coloring of the mouth, coupled with its enormous size, up to 4 times its closed size, allows the bigger male to assert control over the smaller one. The competitor's lips are often pushed extremely close to one another, occasionally touching, without really fighting. The smaller male usually surrenders and departs the area. So, to be clear, this is a fish that's actually kissing its rival, and it's sarcastic. That sums it up. I found my personal favorite fish. Number 18. The spotted handfish. You know how, when you look at an evolutionary scale of man, there's that fish climbing out of the water? It seems to me that this one is probably that connection because of all those cute little fish hands. Spotted handfish are tiny, reaching a maximum size of 12 centimeters in length, which means they may fit comfortably into the palm of your hand. Each fish is covered with spots or stripes arranged in patterns that are unique to that particular species. They have enlarged pectoral fins resembling hands, which they use to gently move over the sandy substrate while searching for tiny crustaceans and worms. The spotted handfish is one of the most well-known inhabitants of the Derwent Estuary, an animal preservation area in Australia. They're unique not just because of their unusual and eye-catching appearance, but also because the overwhelming majority of them exist exclusively in the estuary, making them critically threatened. It's estimated that there are fewer than 10 colonies. Spawning happens from September to October, during which time newly placed egg masses are connected to substrate life on the sea bottom, such as sponges, seaweeds, and, in particular, sea tulips. Number 17. The psychedelic frogfish. Frogfish, in general, are among the weirder animals on the planet. They lack scales, have a variety of appendages and growths on their body, and are often coated in algae. The psychedelic frogfish, however, is unlike any other frogfish. This fish features a big flat face, beady blue eyes, and a huge mouth. Most tellingly, it has a striped white, orange, and tan pattern that apparently enables it to blend in with nearby coral. First found in 2009 in the seas of Indonesia, the psychedelic frogfish also has a small luring appendage on its forehead that mimics a wiggling worm to attract prey. The psychedelic fish has only ever been observed alive in Ambon and doesn't seem to grow much larger than 10 centimeters in length. Its remarkable coloration is believed to resemble multiple species of coral, providing excellent concealment. As for the psychedelic part of its name, well, just look at the thing. It looks pretty crazy, right? On top of its psychedelic skin, the psychedelic frogfish is one of the world's rarest and most difficult to find fish. Since it can only be found in the limited regions of Indonesia's Ambon and Maluku Islands, preserving coral reefs from climate change and human activity is crucial to learning more about these amazing anglerfish. Number 16. The opah. Speaking of fish that help humans make the jump from microbe to Homo sapiens, the opah is a warm-blooded fish discovered in 2015 by a NOAA research team. This fish can use its warmth to its advantage. The fish's body temperature isn't its only distinguishing feature, though. The agile opah is quick and efficient, fluttering its bright red pectoral fins to race through the water. Its body is heated by the continuous flapping of its fins, which speeds up its metabolism, mobility, and response times. The opah has specialized blood arteries that transport warm blood to its gills, re-warming blood that cools as the fish breathes and takes in oxygen from the water. At about the size of a large automobile tire, this fish is built for efficiency. These heat-exchanging blood channels provide a warm core body temperature, increased muscular output, and enhanced swimming capability. They also improve eye and brain function by reducing heat loss, while fatty tissue around its gills, heart, and muscles insulates it against cold waters. Thanks to this remarkable design, the opah can remain in deep water longer without risking the decreased function of its heart and other organs. Now it's time for today's topic. Deep in the heart of the Amazon River, scientists discovered a new species of piranha with a terrifying ability, an unprecedented bite force-to-body weight ratio higher than that of great white sharks. While these fish are relatively small, measuring only a few inches in length, researchers initially dismissed their potential as a threat, considering their size too insignificant to cause widespread concern. However, their initial assessment was far from the reality that would unfold. Fast forward to October of last year, and alarming reports from the Amazon basin changed everything. Fishermen and researchers began encountering mutant versions of these fish, some reaching up to 4 feet long, similar in size to the arapaima, one of the Amazon's largest freshwater fish. With their larger size came a terrifying evolution. Their bite force had scaled exponentially, now strong enough to slice through small steel sheets. Local accounts tell of boats mysteriously sustaining severe damage to their hulls, and even fishing nets reinforced with metal wires being shredded overnight. Scientists are deeply concerned that this mutation could signal a dangerous evolutionary trend. If these fish continue to grow unchecked, they could pose a serious threat to local ecosystems, and even human activity in the region. For now, teams of researchers are working around the clock to study these terrifying fish. But one question lingers: what triggered such a mutation? Could pollution or climate change be the hidden catalyst? The mystery remains unsolved. Number 15. The northern stargazer. The northern stargazer is a benthic species that spends most of its time on or near the seafloor and has adapted to living in the sand very well. Its body is a bit elongated, which helps it use its pectoral fins as shovels, allowing it to bury itself in seconds. When the fish is buried, its eyes and nostrils are carefully placed on the top of its head, keeping them above the sand. The coolest part about the fish, though, is its unique ability to generate small electrical currents from a specialized organ behind its eyes. Hence the name stargazer. It has evolved to spend most of its existence buried in the sand, waiting to ambush and devour its victim whole. Its eyes, gill slits, nose, and the majority of its mouth are located on the top of its body. Its pectoral fins are capable of digging and burying it. Unlike other fish, the stargazer breathes via its nostrils rather than its mouth. The fish features fleshy fringes around its mouth to keep sand out while it's buried. The stargazer's eyes can protrude for a short distance, giving the appearance of being pursued for a brief period. This enables the fish to look over the bottom by injecting liquid into the tissues behind its eyelids. Number 14. The Portuguese man-o'-war. Although the Portuguese man-o'-war is often mistaken for a jellyfish, it's actually a siphonophore, a kind of animal closely related to jellyfish. A siphonophore is unique in that it's made up of a colony of specialized, genetically identical individuals known as zooids, or clones, which all have different shapes and functions but operate together as one. Each of the man-o'-war's 4 specialized sections is responsible for a particular job: flotation, capturing prey, eating, and reproduction. Man-o'-wars, which are mainly found in tropical and subtropical waters, are driven only by winds and ocean currents and may float in armies of up to 1,000 or more. The man-o'-war is distinguished by its balloon-like float, which may be blue, violet, or pink and rises up to 6 inches above the waterline, like an 18th-century Portuguese vessel under full sail. Long strands of tentacles and polyps lurk under the float, each measuring 30 feet in length and extending up to 100 feet. Their stingers are tiny capsules with coiled, barbed tubes that release venom capable of paralyzing and killing tiny fish and crustaceans. While the sting of the man-o'-war is seldom fatal, it is unpleasant and produces welts on the skin. Number 13. The yellow-headed jawfish. With a brilliant yellow head and a white or blue body, The yellow-headed jawfish is truly a stunning fish. Loving to dig in the seabed, it prefers a 3 to 5-inch sand bed with broken coral and different grades of sand. When frightened, it has an amazing ability to dash back into its burrow tail first. You won't see them swimming about too often. They like to hang out vertically above or within their burrows, with just their yellow heads protruding. It's very cool to see a colony of them in a tank observing you from above their holes. These little guys actually make great pets and generally get along well with other calm marine fish. However, different jawfish species may not coexist happily in the same tank. When initially introduced, they've been known to leap out of tanks, so you'll need a tight-fitting hood with no escape routes. Although they seem to be disease-resistant, you should still take precautions and use a quarantine tank before introducing them into your main tank. The yellow-headed jawfish is a carnivore, requiring meaty items in its diet. To encourage them to eat, you may need to place the food near the burrow entrance at first. Once they've acclimated, they may grow less timid and emerge from their burrows to feed. Be cautious, as they may pinch and devour tiny crustaceans. Number 12. The Bumphead parrotfish. This is definitely a creepy fish. The Humphead parrotfish, or green Humphead parrotfish, is the strangest of all parrotfish. Not only is it the strangest, but it can grow up to 1.3 meters in length and weigh up to 46 kilograms, making it the biggest and heaviest of all parrotfish species. They have a sluggish growth rate and may survive for up to 40 years in their current state. Bumpheads don't achieve sexual maturity until later in life, resulting in poor replenishment rates. Despite this, they're not considered endangered. What makes this fish even more intriguing is its feeding behavior. Bumpheads use their strong, beak-like teeth to crunch through coral, which they ingest and later excrete as fine sand, contributing significantly to the formation of sandy beaches in tropical regions. An adult bumphead can grind several tons of coral annually, reshaping entire reef systems over time. Bumpheads develop their alien-like bulbous foreheads as they age, which gives them their nickname, Bumphead. Adding to their list of distinguishing characteristics are their enormous beak-like front teeth, which are nearly completely exposed since their lips only partially cover them. These teeth are perhaps the strangest part of the fish because they look almost human-like. Their unique physical traits and ecological role make them a fascinating subject for marine biologists and divers alike. Number 11. The Stonefish. Now, allow me to introduce, ladies and gentlemen, the most poisonous fish in the sea, the stonefish. The venom generated by stonefish is among the world's most poisonous and is deadly to humans. A significant quantity of antivenom must be administered quickly to reverse the symptoms, which begin with severe agony and swelling. These symptoms may quickly progress, resulting in paralysis, tissue necrosis, and possibly heart failure. Stonefish are often stepped on due to their invisibility, which triggers the venom sacs. Stonefish have 13 spines that run down their backs, each with venom glands at the base. They do not use their venom for hunting. It is only used as a defensive mechanism and is released when pressure is applied to their spines. The stonefish's food consists mostly of shrimp and other fish since they're carnivore. Thanks to their outstanding camouflage abilities, they wait patiently for prey to swim past before attacking and swallowing it in as little as 0.015 seconds. Despite their amazing speed, stonefish are usually slow swimmers. Stonefish may also live for up to 24 hours by collecting oxygen via their skin as long as their surroundings remain wet. This is common with receding tides, which partially expose them, but they will eventually die from asphyxia and dehydration. Number 10. The Gulper eel. One of the strangest deep-sea creatures on the list is the mysterious Gulper eel, often known as the pelican eel. The Gulper has a long, thin body that undulates back and forth to travel through the water, much like a regular eel. They belong to an order that includes 800 species of genuine eels, including moray and garden eels. They are black in color and grow to be around 2 to 3 feet long, which isn't much compared to other eel species. In fact, the largest eel, the European conger, can grow to be over 20 feet long. Gulper eels are named for their enormous gulping jaws, which look like an eel mated with a huge black balloon. Their mouths are so oversized that, when fully extended, they appear almost comical, like something straight out of a cartoon. Interestingly, the gulper eel's stomach is also highly expandable, allowing it to store large meals to sustain itself in the food-scarce depths. They are also bioluminescent, with a glowing tail tip that helps lure prey in the pitch-black waters of the deep ocean. So, what gives the gulper its peculiar adaptation? Gulper eels, like pelicans, hence the source for its other name, may scoop water into their mouths and swallow their prey whole. They mainly eat crabs, fish, and cephalopods, although some experts think their big mouths enable them to go for larger fish if food is scarce. Because these eels are so uncommon, we don't actually know much about them. Nevertheless, they are distributed all over the globe and are classified as a least concerned species by the International Union for Conservation of Nature, IUCN, which means they're not believed to be in danger of extinction. Number 9. The leafy sea dragon. Sea dragons are some of the world's most elaborately camouflaged animals. They are ideally equipped to blend in with seaweed, with gossamer, leaf-shaped growths covering their whole bodies. Leafy sea dragons are closely related to seahorses and pipefish and are found only in the seas off the coasts of South and East Australia. The body color of leafies ranges from brown to yellow, with magnificent olive-tinted appendages. The leaf-like features, however, are not used for swimming. This species moves about by using two thin fins, one pectoral and one dorsal, which are nearly translucent. Male sea dragons, like seahorses, are in charge of procreation. The male sea dragon has a spongy brood patch on the underside of its tail. Females deposit their bright pink eggs during mating, and the eggs are fertilized during the transfer from the female to the male. The males incubate and eventually release tiny sea dragons into the ocean after 4 to 6 weeks. Sea dragons have a diet that consists of mysids or sea lice, which are small crustaceans. Other creatures may prey on them, although this is actually unknown. However, divers who want to keep them as pets often take them in. By the early 1990s, such actions had dwindled their numbers to the point that the Australian government declared the species extinct. Their populations have also been harmed by pollution and habitat degradation, and they are now classified as near threatened. Number 8. The Humphead wrasse. This fish kind of looks like some abstract sculpture of a fish, but in reality, it's an absolutely enormous creation. These massive, multicolored reef fish have been known to grow up to 7 feet in length. The crazy thing about this fish is that sometimes the female can actually transform into a male. During this process, she will also change her coloration from a rusty red-orange to a vivid blue-green. The bumpy feature on the forehead of older males is more noticeable than that of younger fish. Their transformation process, known as sequential hermaphroditism, is triggered by social and environmental factors, making it one of the most fascinating adaptations in the animal kingdom. They also play a crucial role in maintaining the health of coral reefs by feeding on crown-of-thorns starfish, a known coral predator. This dietary habit helps balance reef ecosystems, indirectly benefiting countless other marine species. They feed on marine invertebrates, including some toxic prey, and reside in and around reefs. The Humphead wrasse is a game fish with small commercial importance. Although the flesh of this fish has long been prized for human consumption, it is often seen alive in Hong Kong fish markets, commanding prices of up to $100 per kilogram. Despite its value, eating this fish can be risky because it is toxic. The Humphead wrasse is regularly seen in public aquariums and is considered important for ecotourism in diver-friendly environments. Conservation efforts have been promoted due to the significant tourist benefits of preserving the species. Number 7. The red-lipped batfish. If fringeheads should be kissing any fish, it should totally be the red-lipped batfish. Just look at those juicy fish lips. The red-lipped batfish is a bottom dweller found on the sandy bottoms of reefs or on the ocean floor. Closely related to other batfish, it is unique to the Galapagos Islands. The red-lipped batfish has a light brown body color with a grayish back and a white stomach. Starting at the head and running down the back to the tail, there's typically a dark brown stripe made up of brown dots. These markings help it blend in with its environment, providing some camouflage against potential predators. The batfish's snout and horn have a brownish color, but the most noticeable feature is its brilliant, almost fluorescent red lips, which make it look like it's wearing lipstick. Scientists believe the vibrant lip color could play a role in mating rituals or territorial displays. Another peculiar feature of the red-lipped batfish is its ability to walk. The batfish's fins are better suited to function as strange, leg-like appendages rather than for swimming. These legs are used to walk and perch as the creature examines its environment. Its unique locomotion allows it to maneuver through its habitat with surprising agility, despite its clunky appearance. It also features an elysium structure on its head, believed to be used for enticing prey. The species is a piscivore and insectivore, eating tiny fish and crustaceans such as shrimp and mollusks. With such unusual adaptations, it's no wonder this fish is a star attraction for divers and researchers alike. Number 6. The goblin shark. Now, we're back to absolutely terrifying fishes, ones you wouldn't want to poke with a 10-foot pole. Perhaps the most terrifying and noticeable physical characteristic of the goblin shark is its rostrum, or head, which is covered with unique organs that help these sharks find food in low-light environments by detecting the electric fields produced by other fish. The goblin shark is one of the few shark species whose teeth are visible while the mouth is completely closed. Goblin sharks, in other words, can't really fit all their teeth into their jaws. Because live goblin sharks are seldom seen and rarely recorded, much of what scientists know about them comes from their inadvertent capture in fisheries targeting other species. They are said to be active predators that eat a variety of fish, squids, and pelagic crustaceans. Goblin sharks resemble something out of an alien movie rather than a typical shark. While eating, These sharks use internal fertilization to mate and give birth to a limited number of large offspring. Despite giving live birth, goblin sharks don't have a placenta to link them to their offspring. Instead, throughout the gestation stage, the mother likely feeds her unfertilized eggs to her young, which they actively consume for nutrition. Young goblin sharks are ready to hunt as soon as they are born. Number 5. The Fangtooth fish. Fangtooth fish are black in color and have a hideous look like many other deep-sea animals. The Fangtooth fish, just like the anglerfish, has a large jaw with massive teeth. In fact, the Fangtooth possesses the biggest teeth of any known fish in relation to its body size. Their lower jaw's fangs are so enormous that specific receptacles on each side of their brain had to develop in order to accommodate them. The Fangtooth fish is a kind of fish that may be found all over the globe, categorized as a bathypelagic fish since it dwells in the ocean's bathyal zone. The bathyal zone is a deep marine area extending from 3,300 to 9,800 feet below the surface. Although it may seem like a long way down, the bathyal zone isn't even close to the ocean's bottom. It actually resides above two other zones, which are among the ocean's deepest levels. It is, however, so deep that no light penetrates the area. Unfortunately, scientists don't know much about them, since they are nocturnal deep-sea creatures that are difficult to research. Adult Fangtooth fish eat tiny fish, although they've also been observed eating bigger squid. Scientists aren't entirely sure, but for now, they think that Fangtooths migrate in a pattern known as diurnal vertical migration, meaning they feed at night on the surface before returning to the depths before the sun rises. Number 4. Anglerfish. Because life in deep water is challenging, many fish have evolved unique adaptations to help them eat and breed. Cue the Jaws music here because this fish has adapted some serious jaws to help itself out. These deep-water anglerfish have evolved to have large mouths because there isn't a lot of prey around them at their depths, so their big mouths help them catch whatever they can. Like other anglerfish, they have a lure that they use to attract prey. The lure of the deep-sea anglerfish contains microorganisms that produce their own light, and a deep-water anglerfish can conceal or expose its illuminated lure by using a muscular skin flap. They effectively use this to attract their prey by pulsing the light and moving the lure back and forth. Sometimes, even a mate is attracted to the lure. Females are the only ones that match the aforementioned description. They are the ambush predators and also have illuminated lures. Males, on the other hand, are very tiny, seriously only about 1 inch long, and do not hunt. They spend all their time after hatching looking for partners, biting onto bigger females and fertilizing their eggs. In many anglerfish species, the male develops a parasitic nature, never leaving his mate, sucking on her blood, and essentially becoming a baby factory. Number 3. The ocean sunfish. Has anyone here ever seen the elephant man? Well, this fish kind of looks like it has the same disease as John Merrick. If you don't know this, you should totally look it up because it's amazing. The ocean sunfish, also known as mola, is the heaviest of all bony fish, reaching 14 feet vertically and 10 feet horizontally, and weighing over 5,000 pounds in larger individuals. They are often mistaken for floating debris or marine mammals, due to their peculiar flattened shape and slow movements. Despite their immense size, they are surprisingly vulnerable to predators like orcas, sea lions, and large sharks. Ocean sunfish are known to bask near the surface, sometimes lying on their sides, leading to their nickname, the swimming head. Their unique behavior often attracts curious seagulls, which opportunistically peck at their skin to feed on the parasites. Rays are cartilaginous fish, so they may be very large, but the ocean sunfish is unique among bony fish. Ocean sunfish can become infected with skin parasites to the point that they attract tiny fish or even birds to eat them. In an effort to shake off the parasites, they'll break the surface, jump up to 10 feet in the air, and land with a splash. They are awkward swimmers, guiding themselves with their clavis and waggling their enormous dorsal and tail fins to move. Jellyfish are their preferred diet, although they may also consume tiny fish, zooplankton, and algae in large quantities. For now, they are not dangerous to humans, although they are quite inquisitive little guys and often approach divers. Number 2. Blobfish. Now, yikes, because this one wins for the ugliest fish on the list, the blobfish. If being called a blobfish wasn't bad enough, the rest of its family doesn't have it much better. The blobfish belongs to a family of fish often referred to as fathead sculpins, owing to their large heads and floppy appearance. Around southeastern Australia and Tasmania, blobfish dwell in waters just off the ocean bottom. The water pressure at depths of 2,000 feet or more is crushing, more than 60 times that of the surface. You'd probably be squashed into a blob if you even tried to go down that far. Blobfish usually float along the sea's bottom, devouring whatever floats directly in front of them and is small enough to fit into their jaws. The blobfish's body is mostly made of gelatin, having few hard bones. This is advantageous at the crushing depths where it dwells because it can avoid being squashed by water pressure. Since it's composed of gelatinous, blobby substance, Its body composition provides it with exactly the right amount of buoyancy to float around the seafloor without exerting much effort. Imagine throwing a water balloon into a pool. It would float around on the pool floor. The same thing happens with the blobfish, but without the pool and the crowds. Number 1. The cuttlefish. These sea chameleons are among the largest cuttlefish species, growing up to 60 centimeters in length and weighing up to 5 kilograms. This magnificent creature's journey to the waters of Australia is solely for the purpose of spawning. They flock in their tens of millions every year between May and August to mate and breed, producing a spectacular sight of clever games, predation, underwater light shows, and colorful kaleidoscopic displays. Cuttlefish are clever animals that can alter their color, shape, and texture to resemble rocks, sand, or seaweed as they travel around the bottom. Because males outnumber females, there's intense and frantic rivalry among them for mating rights, resulting in bizarre and spectacular behavior. During mating, the cuttlefish connects its 8 arms and 2 tentacles for head-to-head contact, with the males sliding their sperm packets into the female's mouth to fertilize her eggs. The female lays tear-shaped eggs on the undersides of rocky ledges and in rock crevices, where they hatch after 3 to 5 months. It's thought they gather in such huge numbers because this is the only place in the region with suitable rocky ledges for laying eggs. Because commercial fishing nearly wiped out this once-in-a-lifetime occurrence, cuttlefish are protected during their mating season, which runs from May to August. Seeing so many crazy and beautiful fish is pretty refreshing, isn't it? It really makes you wonder just how much of our world we still know nothing about. And trust me, that's a lot. Which of these fish did you find the most fascinating? Let me know in the comments below. Check out the other cool videos on the screen, and I'll see you next time.